Mr. Mayso, que volá, man. Thank you for making it out. Boricua, ¿no?
Sí, señor.
Boricua,
Nacido y
Marines.
criado.
Nacido y criado. ¿Y qué tal en tu isla tan bella?
Preciosa, la extraño mucho. Hace tiempo que no voy por allá, pero con el favor de Dios, tal vez este año probablemente vaya a visitar.
Ah, qué bien. When did you come to California?
I've been in Cali since 03, man.
What's your description? How do you describe yourself? You're a Second Amendment pro-gun advocate?
I call myself a Second Amendment instructor and advocate because a lot of people in my field they call themselves a firearms instructor, but I am a Second Amendment instructor because I take great pride and put a great importance in teaching my students about the Second Amendment, the story about it, and everything that comes into play when you become a firearms owner. However, I want to go back to answering your question about what's wrong with California and the Second Amendment. I haven't said this too many times, but California and some other handful of states successfully criminalized the exercise of the Second Amendment on the state, law level. Now, if you're aware, we have up to 25 states that are constitutional carry now, where they have effectively removed the government from, the people having to request permission to exercise the rights. Here in California, we are like 180 from that. We have the government way too much intertwined in the Second Amendment. We don't have in the state of California's Constitution a version of the Second Amendment. We have a version of the First Amendment and a number of the other rights in the United States Bill of Rights, but they skipped right over the Second Amendment. The only way that California laws speak about firearms is in the penal code, which means that anything related to firearms is seen as negative first, including the exercise of the Second Amendment by good, peaceful people. It's, you violated this penal code section, whatever. And that's one of the biggest problems that we have.
There's ways to get the CCW, which you just explained and confirmed.
Mm-hmm.
But some of the problems with that is that now you're on a list of this person holds a CCW.
This person holds a CCW. This person has these specific firearms.
These persons has these guns.
In your license.
They have these guns, and then supposedly I heard that anti-gun people can access certain information and start harassing and start bothering and start, whatever. What's that about?
The state of California said that they were going to use this database to do research for crime prevention. Okay, they just want to figure out any and all ways that they can to prevent crime in California. And what fantastic idea. Well, we have all these names of these people who conceal carry. Let's go ahead and compile this database. And we're going to give it to these researchers in academia. And they're going to help us figure out what is driving crime. Now, mind you, the entire Second Amendment community here in California, we went up and figuratively up in arms, right? Wait, what?
Yeah,
Why are you guys know that concealed carry permit holders in California commit close to zero crimes in the state of California. So what makes you think that messing with our data of our information is going to give you some sort of path to preventing crime? Yeah. So what happened? They put the database together. On the very first day that they rolled out the database, they said that they were going to protect our private information. The very first day that all our private information, address, what kind of firearms we had, social security numbers, phone numbers, all that stuff was publicly available.
How is that
To
not a
this
lawsuit?
day, the California Attorney General, Rob Bonta, has not apologized to a single, publicly apologized to a single gun owner that had their data, available for the whole world to see.
But how is not nobody getting sued? How is this not bigger than what it's supposed to be? Because there must be thousands, if not.
Yeah, there are lawsuits in the works, class action lawsuits by some of the very fine gun rights.
I'm sure people had to move. I'm sure people probably lost their jobs or whatever the case is.
Yeah, you name it. The inconveniences of knowing that your data was out there and it could have been sold, right? And you could have criminal enterprises that know, who has what type of gun.
Yeah,
And
they could
puts a target
duplicate
on
the serial number on a gun. It exposes all kinds of stuff.
All
Who
kinds of
knows?
stuff, man.
Yeah, who knows? And then you're saying Social Security, your credit,
Yeah.
home, invasion,
Correct.
security risk, robbery.
Yeah. Which, it expands the possibility of you having to use your firearm when you didn't want to. Most of us, all of us, anyone that I know, and now you, we purchase our firearms. Nobody can say that, they hope that they are in a situation where they use their firearm. Because, trust me.
Nobody wants that.
No, but now the state of California exponentially made thousands and thousands of California gun owners, have the possibility of having to defend themselves, whether it's at home or somebody tracks them to or from work, all that, and it's terrible.
Well, you kind of said it. They want to play gods. They want to control. They want to limit guns. It doesn't benefit the state for people to have
Correct.
independent security or independent food or water or electricity or cell phones or live off grid. It just doesn't. No le conviene. So that part makes sense. And then to my other question that I was asking you about, why are people buying into this so much? You explained because the news goes with what's big news, what sells.
Correct.
But that's not my question so much. That I get that point, very valid point. But my question is, why is the public so fucking weak minded and just buys this, man? Like some people just get fucking mad. Like I'll give you a simple example.
I can answer it.
I'm watching a video and this vegetarian screaming at this guy because he's eating chicken wings. And she's like,
Oh, yeah.
So,
I watched that video.
and everybody saw it. It was like one of the most, I think the guy put like my most watched fucking 2022 video. And he's like, okay, you a killer. But people are so passionate and like why?
Let me answer it this way. And I did answer this question to somebody else very recently. For a very long time here in the United States, we have been enamored with being saved by somebody else. We have been enamored as a society in the United States by having some hero or heroine to come and save us. I need help, please, somebody help me. And not the self-reliant side of taking care of yourself and your loved ones. And that is why let me tell you a story. When I first rolled out Triggerology, which is the name of my firearms training company, I was using this app called, you may be familiar with it or not, called Nextdoor.
Yeah.
Because I figured I live in eastern LA County in the city of Pomona, right in between, right next to Claremont and Laverne. It's an extremely liberal area. But I know that there are gun owners all around me. So I went and used that application to roll out, hey, I am a firearms instructor right here, your friendly, neighborly firearms.
Real quick,
Sure.
Nextdoor, just for the people listening, is an app where you pretty much register and you have communication with people in your community.
Correct.
And if you want to sell something or share something or have an experience or lost a dog or whatever the case is, it's a community-based app.
Yeah. And so I started making posts. Hey, if you have any needs, any questions, anything, just reach out. The vast majority of replies I would get were people saying, no, this is not the Wild West anymore. No, you gun nuts, blah, blah, blah. White supremacists. You can see the color of my skin.
They didn't hear your accent in the text?
No. It's the Boricua white supremacist. And that's when I decided that I wasn't just going to be a Second Amendment instructor. I was also going to be an advocate, because I heard, I got any and all, reasons to why people do not want firearms in the community, and they see the tool itself as the giver of the evil, thoughts in the minds of, people who commit horrible crimes. It's kind of amazing, because it seems like people have not studied history enough that, evil deeds have happened all throughout the history of humankind.
Before guns.
And
And it was even crazier.
Absolutely.
I just came to a conclusion. This just hit me. I think I know what's going on.
What's that?
I had a buddy of mine. He worked at an insurance company. And as they would ask people like, all right, do you have any blah, 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 driving record, any accident? Oh, you got one ticket, but I'm a good driver. And they had this technique where they're like, hey, we have a device that we can plug into your car for a month and watch your driving. If you do good, we'll, we'll fucking give you your discount, but if not, it can go up. And they're like, no, it's okay. No, whatever rate it is, I'll just take that. And that was everybody's mentality. I think the problem is people don't trust themselves with guns.
Correct.
99% of the people, they're like, anti-guns, no guns. They can't control themselves with guns. What I am comparing it to, it's like driving. They will say they are a good driver. Like I have a friend of mine. He's a dear friend of mine. If I talk to him about driving, he'll be like, yeah, I'm a good driver. As soon as I get into the car, he's like, hey, you want to drive my car? I'm like, why? He's like, dude, I'm a terrible driver. Terrible driver. I know that. I accept it. I'm a terrible driver.
But they also project that to everybody else. If I can't,
right, exactly.
If I can't trust myself with a firearm,
claro, then nobody trust. I don't trust anybody else. Right, exactly. Absolutely. And that's it. So it's not the people owning the guns. It's the people not owning the guns. It's this is perfect because ride boundless and I ride motorcycles. If everybody had to take a motorcycle course or a class, just a one-day class, before they can get their car driver's license, the roads would be so much more safer. People would be more alert.
Yeah. Sharing the road.
When people see me riding a bike, people are like, "Oh, I know somebody that crashed and died." And I'm like, "Dude, first of all, why are you telling me that?" Right? But then when I meet people and I see them again later, they're like, "Hey, ever since I met you, or I know somebody in the motorcycle community, I notice bikes more." And now I move out. Now I see it, and I'll move out of the way.
Aware,
it's just more aware, and it's almost like everybody should sign up for a gun class, even though if you don't need it. You don't have to buy a gun. No, you're not. Nobody's saying to buy a gun at all, but maybe taking a course and learning about guns and how they work and how they function. It's not. The thing that people don't understand, it's a bullet small. Like it's not easy to shoot and kill either. It's there's a lot of responsibility and there's a lot of moving parts to the whole process. And I don't think people understand that part, you know? And again, it's back to, they just don't trust themselves.
Correct. And I like how you brought in the fact about writing and how people will say, oh, I know somebody that crashed or whatever. There's inherent risk in the vast majority of things that we do in life.
Mire, mi abuelo decía, lo único que se pide para morir es estar vivo.
Uh-huh.
The only requirement to die is to be alive.
Yep.
We've heard of the Olympian female American runner, you know, die from lung cancer and never smoked in her fucking life.
Right,
you know, like it's just
the way that Steve Irwin died. He loved, you know, dealing with animals, and he died doing
dealing with animals.
Yeah, dealing with animals with a freaking what was it?
Yeah, I'm trying to blank.
Stingray right through his heart.
It was through his heart. That's right.
Yes.
I forgot about that.
There's
incident.
inherent risk in everything that we do, whether it's something that you love doing or something that you do because it's the way that you make your.
Well, again, there's the you know mother breastfeeding her baby, and she's at home breastfeeding her baby, and then there's a bullet that comes in from gangster shooting, whatever the case is.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you can't live like that. You can't live like in that fear.
No.
What do you teach? How many days is your courses, and what is the agenda of what you teach? What's the breakdown?
So the vast majority of my teaching is in my bulk, which is what I decided to focus on my business, is the vast majority of firearm owners that do not touch their guns. They bought them and they lock them away.
That's
and I never use them. That's dangerous.
Dangerous.
It's not just dangerous because when it comes to, if you, God forbid, right, knock on wood, toco madera, you're in a situation where you have to defend yourself, you haven't practiced. You don't even know how to manipulate your firearm. So that is a lot of the gun owners that are out here in California. So I am focusing in introduction to your firearm, introduction to firearms in general for people who have not yet purchased their firearms. That's a lot of what I do. I mean, I go.
That's the most important thing.
Yeah,
that's a great.
I go to people's homes. I bring firearms on a table like this, in their kitchen table, lay them out. This is.
You didn't bring any firearms here today?
Well.
Coño, man. Come on.
I got the one that's on me.
Okay.
But this is a shotgun.
Yeah.
This is, these are the type of ammunition that the shotguns take. This is the handgun. This is the rifle. Let's look at the layout of your home. What would make more sense for you, dad or mom, who are thinking of buying your first firearm for home defense? A lot of people go with, I'll just get a shotgun. It's not that simple. It's not that easy. You need to consider so many different variables of what it is your situation that you have in your household. What's your household composition? What's the literal composition of your house? What are the walls made of?
Do you have neighbors?
Correct.
Do you have people upstairs, downstairs?
Yeah.
What kind of ammunition are you going to get for your shotgun?
So the bulk of my classes are introductions like that, getting people to think about things that they have probably never ever thought about. And I mean, as I'm telling you these things, because that's the way that I structure my classes, is just to get their minds going about, because it is all about scenarios, right? What if? Their eyes just getting into their brains, and they're just absorbing all this information, and all of a sudden they have questions in their mind that they never ever considered. And so I take great pride. I typically, my typical class is about 2 hours, because past that it's information overload.
Yeah.
Once we are past the, of course, super heavy on safety, I teach them with their kids. I've taught many classes with teenagers.
How young?
Younger kids, as young as they are, man.
Like, what's the youngest you've taught? Like,
probably maybe 9, 10. But it's
so my 4-year-old's too young, huh?
We can before we started recording, you said I teach my kids. It's all about taking their, first and foremost, take the curiosity out of their head.
100%.
And then supply a very heavy amount of respect for what it is that this thing is.
That's right.
Do you want to introduce what it is that it does if you handle it incorrectly? I don't know. For a 4, 5, 6-year-old, I don't know that you want to take away their innocence like that, you know? But if you have...
No, but there's respect.
Correct.
Like, with my 4-year-old, there's respect for because I have pocket knives. I have guns.
Yeah.
I have sharp things. I have,
Correct.
fucking a bunch of stuff. I don't even want to get into it.
There's no difference.
And sometimes it's on my pants,
Correct.
and sometimes I take a shower and left some pants there and there's a knife there. As a matter of fact, today.
Hey, that can hurt you.
Right.
Don't touch it.
Just today, I had my gym bag open. There was a knife, and Papa, you have a knife. Okay, you want to touch it? No. Why not? It's Papa's. It's Papa's. Like, he
Okay.
knows.
Okay.
He knows.
Yeah.
He knows. It's respect. He's just, hey, it's open and it's exposed, and I can see it. But I'm not worried. I'm not worried at all that he's going to grab it open and run with it and fall or something, have an accident.
Yeah.
But I don't hide anything from him. And then the other thing that I do, which people hate this, but I don't give a fuck because I see how it works, and I don't see a problem with it. I cuss around my kid, and now, I'll talk to you, and he'll be sitting there, and I'll be like, "Hey, the fuck are you saying?" Or "What the fuck happened?" Can you fucking believe that? He's numb to it. It's not a big deal. My friends' kids, you say fuck, and they're 6, 7 years old, and they're all bam, 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 he said about it. And now it's two adults having a conversation, and the 6-year-old's making this loud alarming noise and making a scene in front of everybody about a word. Where my 4-year-old's like, you know what he does? He does this. If he hears somebody say fuck, if we're talking and you say fuck, he'll be like, Papa, he's using your word. That's what he does. But he's numb to it, and he respects the word, and he knows he can't say it. But I'm not going to hide it because
it's the same concept.
You're going to see knives in the world,
right?
You're going to see guns one way or another in the world, and you need to know: do I touch it? Do I not touch it? How dangerous is it? How is it going to affect me? And I explain it.
Correct.
Same thing with parenting. You could say, "Don't do that," and leave it there. Or you could say, hey, don't do that because the consequences are. You start explaining. And this is not just guns or cussing or knives. This is swimming and eating. And
these are life lessons.
This is life lessons that
Absolutely.
you have to apply. It's just people get more intimidated with those things.
Yeah, so...
You have kids?
I do. I have, of
course,
two,
Latino,
Claro que sí. La parejita, 2 teenagers. They're awesome kids. I've
Twins?
had...
No.
One is 16, one's 14. But since I've had guns in the household since before they were born.
Yeah.
They never saw them until I thought that they were old enough. And then I taught them about the security, what it is that they do, what they don't do. I taught them first with BB guns and with paintballs. Nice. I taught them the basics, the 4 safety rules, and all of that. And I was very successful at getting them bored.
Getting them bored. They were over it.
Getting them bored. They got over it. My son comes with me every once in a while to the range, but that's it. They're over it.
Yeah.
They know what they are for. They know what dad uses them for.
They know how to use it if they needed it.
Correct.
That's it. They're done.
They don't grow legs and go shoot up people, on their own.
Yeah.
And
they don't draw pictures of
Correct.
They're
Correct.
not sick or
Correct. And they know that dad is a decent person. And now whenever they go out there in society, whether it's at school or something that they come across on the internet, right? The people who have nothing but bad things to say about firearms and their owners, they know that that's not true. And that's how you do it.
Yeah. Yeah, but people are not like that. You know, like you're doing that and I'm doing that, but like this newer generation is not practicing these simple steps.
Yeah, no, they're not. But
Neither are the schools, and neither are the
life has this really pesky way of showing reality.
Yeah.
Whenever that's necessary. And many of my students have divulged to me, hey, I was anti-gun. But then this dude followed me home. But then I was home alone and this knucklehead tried to break in while I was at home. And then I dialed 911 and they said, we don't have anybody to send you right now. Oh, yeah. I'm sorry.
Well, so you can call 911 right now. You're on hold.
Yeah. And
you're on hold in Los Angeles. You call 911.
Yeah,
you're on hold for 10 minutes. Like it's an operator saying you've called the LAPD. Currently, we have more calls than we can have. And then when you get a hold of them,
and they're gonna triage you. They're gonna say, "Well, are they there inside right now, stabbing you right now? Are they right now or no? Because we got other calls to handle." So life has a way to throw a dose of reality to people. And I mean, are you ready for it or not? And that's, como dicen en Puerto Rico, yo no sé si dicen eso en tu país, ahí es que sabes si el gas pela.
Sabes si el gas pela.
That's when you know if the gas burns you.
Overall state regulations and laws, federally, nothing's ever really changed, right?
Federally, well, yes.
With the Second Amendment,
yes.
What has changed federally?
Well, federally, the worst infringements are called the NFA, the National Firearms Act, and the GCA, the Gun Control Act. Those are both very old laws. They got instituted when the mafia was running around with Tommy guns and shooting up people. They outlawed machine guns. Right. And then the NFA, the National Firearms Act, the National Firearms Act also regulates peripheral things such as suppressors and stuff like that, and they didn't outlawed suppressors, but they defined, well, if you want to have a suppressor, you need to pay this X amount of money to the government on top of, whatever it cost to have that firearm. And so in a way, what it did was actually prevent people in the lower stratas of socioeconomics to have access to firearms and their peripherals, and it became more of something for the elite, something for people of wealth. Many of the gun control laws in California, including the previous version of the concealed carry, had that effect of skyrocketing the price, the overall cost of being a firearm owner and or carrying. Cheap. Yes,
rifles, shotguns are like $150.
You can look up old school catalogs because you used to be able to order firearms and get them mailed right to your home, super cheap. There were Saturday night specials, they used to call them. There are where you would buy a firearm very cheap, and the ammunition was very cheap. The society was very different.
Yeah.
What changed was the people. What changed was the people, and the people looking to government for their solutions rather than handling stuff appropriately. If somebody decided to violate your place of solace, like your home, with a firearm, you would have handled it right there and there. One of my favorite T-shirts says, "Before there was 911, there was 357, baby."
That way.
And that's the way it was. But we shifted, right, to looking to government for our solutions, and slowly, all that was eroded, and we began blaming the tool rather than the individual. To this day, this morning, one of the larger gun control advocates in the country, it's called Everytown, is heavily funded by Michael Bloomberg, former New York mayor or governor?
I think governor.
They make all kinds of outrageous posts in their social media. They made a post about in 2022 there were over 6,000 children killed in the United States by guns. By guns, not by the criminals, by guns. My response to them was, well, a lot of that it's actually gang related. Y'all very conveniently left out that the vast majority of gang membership is children from as young as ages 11 all the way to 17, 18, which are their foot soldiers, and they are the expendable part of the gang membership. Those are the ones that carry out all the bad deeds for the leadership. And those are the ones that are ending up dead. But that is an inconvenient part of the equation that the gun control people leave out.
Well, not only that, they also leave out the cops shooting and killing with guns. That also goes into that batch.
That also goes into the statistic.
You have regular crime. You have gang crime, theft, and then there was something else that was also suicide. Suicide was the other one.
Yep.
Those all get thrown into the numbers. So then people are like, it's this many people that are dying from guns. And it's like, wait, time out.
Again,
you have
because
40,000 people, healthy individuals die from car accidents.
Mm-hmm.
People don't, they manipulate the numbers.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty stupid. But if you see that breakdown and you look at, then the other number that's in that random shooting is self-defense.
Correct.
So you have self-defense, gang on gang, cops on criminals, suicide, and they rack up that number. They go, look how many deaths
Correct.
Guns are killing.
Because even if the way the statistics, because they can lie with statistics all the time, even somebody who, just like you said, somebody who used their firearm in self-defense, that's still there will be an agency that will count it as a homicide. Homicide is the death of a human being by another.
Right.
Even if it is in self-defense. And so that's how
gun violence.
Correct.
It'll be in that. Oh, gun violence. Self-defense, gun violence. And that's all the categories that we're talking about. Yeah.
And that's how we end up with people that consume all that, biased information. And that's how they figure their perceptions.
Now, I find it very difficult to believe or accept that people will hear this conversation or many other conversations like this, teaching this information. They'll be like, oh, fuck, I had no idea. That's fucking amazing. What the? I wasn't told such a thing. Right. Now I get it. How do we get into those people's heads that just don't get it, or we just kind of...
I'm so glad you bring that up, because a lot of the work that I do online on my social media is pushback. And the pushback is not necessarily to, I'm not trying to convince the people that have their feet cemented in their anti-Second Amendment. Yeah. It's for the fence sitters. The people who are somewhat, neither here nor there, they're just right? The people that are receptive to information. And those are the people that I want to win over, because those are the people
That's a
that
good point.
are seeking information. And I can't tell you how many times I've received a DM, somebody that says, "Hey man, thanks for what you're doing." They'll hey, I saw that reply you gave to this person who said some nonsense, and can we talk more? And that's what I'm here for. Because I mean, for a long time, I was frustrated because being a father, I want my kids to live in a still free society. I stopped paying attention to the larger picture, the stuff that I can't have control of. I can have influence on whatever's closest to me.
Yeah.
And so those are the conversations that I like to have. And the pushback, even though I'm not going to convert anybody that's cemented, I'm going to help provide more information for the people that are missing the context, that don't have the vast majority of people that don't live in the inner city, that see, the gang violence on a daily basis. They're the ones that have made the right, if you can call them that way, right decisions, or their parents did. And so their living situation is somewhat sheltered from what everybody else has to deal with.
Yeah.
And that's what I've been taking pride in doing.
That's then first of all, congratulations on that.
Thank you.
That's really awesome because, a part of me is like, it's before we started recording, I told you I defend the Second Amendment, but just to a certain point, because there's just so many facts and points that I can bring up. The economy of words in the conversation, I don't have it. So I just there's a point where I'm like, well, did you know this? Did you know that? Well, Chicago, look at Chicago, look at that. Gang violence,
Yep.
But cuando me salen con my friend's daughter died, her boyfriend killed herself, and I have a statistic that I say always on this podcast: 95% of motorcycle accidents are rider error. I say that all the time. People disagree. No, that's not true. That's not true. I go, every time I hear that thing, it's probably 90. I haven't. There's very few that I've heard. And the thing is I do hear a lot of accidents. So there is 2-3 people who come up to me and say, "But my accident," I'll be like, "Okay," but I just also heard a bunch. And anyways, my point is, people will be like, "My daughter's boyfriend died from gun violence." In the back of my head, he was probably a gangster, or he probably he was doing something he shouldn't have done. So it's always there. But I like how you fine-tuned your market, and that's, people that are on the fence. That's fucking genius. I'm always generalizing, and you just went like, wait, there's people on the fence. They need help. People that already own guns. You're right. That's a problem. If you own a gun and you're not practicing it and safety, even I have the fake bullets. So I can load my shotguns and 9, take it out, but I got the little laser bullshit.
Yeah.
That's
good.
It's cool.
Yeah.
But people don't even do that. And if you don't do that, and if you don't practice,
most people are not even aware that those
that becomes dangerous.
Yeah.
That becomes dangerous. It's like I catch myself on motorcycles where I'm saying a lot of stuff like, I feel like I made this statement recently. I feel safer right now, the way LA is, the way the traffic is, the way people are driving, the lack of police, the lack of everything, I feel safer on a motorcycle than a car. Okay? And the reason for that is I'll drive every now and then, and once there's traffic, I look around, I go, dude, if an outbreak just broke out here, I'm stuck. I can't get out of this.
You have way more flexibility. You have way more options.
Yeah, see, come mierda detrás de mí, like just like, hey, fuck you, and I'm on a bad one, fuck, and we go at it. If we say papa words, like my son would say, we go at it. I can't do nothing. On a bike, somebody could be like beep, and I'll be like, oh, zip through. Y se terminó.
Yep.
Now, I had to recall that statement back because that's with my experience. That's 22 years of just riding in traffic. I feel very comfortable in traffic. I know people that come into LA, rent motorcycles, and they'll be half an hour in traffic. They're terrified. They're like, this is not fun. I want to return the bike.
Okay.
Like they can't do it. So that's my experience. But the thing is, I practice. You own a gun and you don't practice. People need to understand.
Yeah.
If you show a gun to a criminal and you don't know how to use it, chances are they're gonna grab that gun and use it on you.
Yeah, because they're gonna almost smell your incompetence.
They're gonna smell the shit. They're gonna hear you fart. Like it's like you need to.
Yeah, absolutely. These are tools. These are life-saving tools. You need to know how to utilize
use
it.
And
You're not going to buy a simple life-saving tool such as a fire extinguisher, of which I have many at my house, and not know how to use it.
Yeah.
You know?
I need a fire extinguisher.
Yeah.
That's a good point, man.
Yeah, you're not going to have that tool and not know how to use it. You mentioned the dummy rounds, the snap caps. That's one thing that I 100% I tell to every single one of my students. Not only because it helps you do the dry fire at home, but when you go to the range, you can also practice the malfunctions. Because God forbid, toco madera, again, if you are in a situation where you have to defend your life, you have to consider the possibility that this tool, that this impressive, array of plastic and metal and rounds in it, all these moving parts, it may malfunction on you. And you may have a split second to figure out what it is that went wrong with it, put it back into battery, which is a term that we utilize, battery, for it being ready to shoot, and get back to business and stop the threat. So yeah, snap caps, which is another term for dummy rounds, that's absolutely something that every firearm owner should have and practice with when they go to a range, and induce the malfunctions so you can get quick at clearing those out.
Yeah, and they're cheap.
Yeah, they're cheap.
You can get them anywhere. You can order anywhere. Whatever. I don't even have to recommend it. Just go online.
It's an investment. It's a life investment. It's
not even an investment. It's just it's just something cheap. It's just cheap. Buy it. It's good practice. It's good. Bueno modales. It benefits you.
Yeah,
especially with a shotgun, because like you want to be able to learn and practice how to unload the shotgun without having to process it. Or chamber it, you want to be able to release it. Yeah. That's what I liked it for. On the 9mm, you get used to just practicing, filling a magazine. That's something else you want to practice. People have these fast loaders, but it's good to practice with your hand.
Yeah. There's people, I could tell you a ton of stories of somebody who's had the gun for 2-3 years and they have never loaded the magazine.
Yeah, I know people like that.
They go to load it backwards with the rounds facing back. Oh, good Lord, I'm so glad that I got you, because I would hate to hear that something happened to you.
Did you say they load it backwards?
Yeah, people. That's a typical thing. I don't knock them for it, but that's
no.
For
me, I've never heard such a thing.
That's a typical thing of somebody who's never handled a firearm. They'll try to stick the magazine with the rounds looking backwards. That's something that I see. Yeah. But I as an instructor,
of course you practice in this and you learn
compassion, and all that. Nope, that doesn't go that way. The rounds need to face forward. But that's just let me make this. I'm gonna take the advantage of having said this. That's the importance of getting training by a real professional instructor. I cannot stress this enough to your audience. Your uncle or your friend that you go to shoot with, for fun, shooting cans or whatever, up in the desert, they will most likely not see you doing something wrong. And here you are just throwing bullets out on the range, and you're not advancing your skills. And I can tell you, as an instructor, I go to the range and left, right, I just see people just wasting rounds away and just doing stuff wrong and not,
I'm laughing. I'm like that's such an important point. The reason I'm laughing is because I went shooting with a bunch of high school friends, that I haven't seen in years, and they're like, hey, let's go to the desert and shoot, and it's, I mean, they missed everything, like 3, 2, 1.
Yeah.
And they had such a blast,
And
a blast. And
I don't knock it.
And the reason
You can have fun just wasting rounds.
Of course, but the reason I stepped back is because number one, I was like, I haven't seen these guys since high school, so I don't know.
Okay,
who's
you don't know who's
stable and shit. You know what I mean? And then two, I'm like, what the fuck are they shooting at? They're all like, the dirt's like the rocks, and they had targets, but it was it's such a valid point. If you go with your friends, if you go with your cousin, if you go with your pops, you're going just to pull the trigger and just the blah, 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 blah.
Right.
But you're not going there for technique, I mean, I remember once I bought a few guns. I owned guns for a while, but I took no training courses.
Okay.
And then I was going to the range, and I'm like, what's going on?
It gets
here?
old.
Well, it doesn't get old, but I'm talking about the first few times where I'm like, I'm looking, I'm aiming at that. Why the fuck am I not hitting it? And then it was like, somebody's like, hey, dude, take your magazine out, take your everything out, empty it out, hold the gun still, and pull the trigger. And I'm moving it, and I was like, oh shit, like you don't think of those steps, and you have to go to a trainer.
Yeah,
you have to get. Yeah, man, you have to get a trainer for everything, and period. You want to learn how to ride a bike, you can do it by yourself.
Very true.
But if you go to a trainer, you're going to feel safer. Mm-hmm. You got to learn how to shoot a gun by yourself. But if you get a trainer, it's going to be better.
Yeah.
A coach.
Absolutely.
It's like everybody has coaches. Somebody was making a point online. The president of the United States has advisors and coaches and many, So it's like, it's something to get into. It's an investment. It could save your life. And if it doesn't,
I was about to say that.
And if it doesn't, use it as a sport. Use it, go to the range and shoot that. But I have a more serious topic for you.
Yeah, what's up?
This is probably the heavier part of the conversation.
Okay. Yeah, let's do it.
I don't think we have a gun problem.
I don't think so either.
I think we have a mental health problem.
Yes, we do.
What are the statistics on mental health? Like that, because people that have mental health issues will grab a knife in Japan and start murdering people.
Yeah. The vast majority of the gun deaths are by suicide.
Are suicide,
yes.
No, but even the mass shootings are mental health issues.
Yes, they are.
How come people don't talk about that? Isn't that a hotter topic than blaming it on guns?
And I will say that gladly there are organizations that are talking about it. There are a number of Second Amendment based organizations that are talking about the mental health topic and providing solutions and opportunities to just to give you one example, there's one organization that their name escapes my mind right now, but they have partnered with gun shops, FFLs, federal firearm licensees, where if somebody feels that they are not very well, right, in their mental health, they can voluntarily, right, ask a FFL to store the guns for them without having to involve the authorities, which then places a stigma on you, right? And this may be something that, it's most of them have the ability to be, transitory issues, right? And you're not giving away your life-saving tools. And so that's being addressed. We definitely need more. I don't think I am one. I am what's called an Second Amendment absolutist. I don't believe that someone, because they have XYZ disability, they shouldn't own firearms. And there is a segment of the population that is blanket. Or if you're disabled, you shouldn't own a firearm.
Yeah, but you don't believe in that.
I don't, man, because if you're someone who has a disability, who's gonna protect you, man? We hear way too often of
where's the limit?
people who get targeted. Where's the limit? I don't know. That's where the nuance. That's where the nuance has to go into the conversation. But I as someone who I like to put myself in the shoes of others, I have a very hard time with authorities saying, well, you have this disability, you no longer get to own a firearm. Well, I live in this neighborhood, which is the only neighborhood that I can afford. It's a bad neighborhood. This is what I own to defend myself. But now you're putting this scarlet letter on my face, and I can't own this firearm for my self-defense. You know?
Sorry, and just to clarify,
Sure.
Disability, that I don't think that's the problem. I think the mental health issue is a problem. Are you considering some mental health as a disability?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Where do you draw the line? I see your motivation.
Yeah.
I see the motivation, but where do you draw the line?
I don't know.
Schizophrenia, paranoia.
I mean,
is it a disability because they were a normal functional person, they had an accident, they got fucked up, or was it that they had they were a normal function person, but then they just fried their brain, now they're there. You don't know,
Yeah, that's the really hard part of the subject, because it's take away their ability to defend themselves, but then who's going to defend them? That's where my question goes to. Okay, let's say that this paranoid schizophrenic, they cannot have their guns anymore. Okay, who's going to defend them? If we're not going to answer that, then that's where I'm just really having this really hard time with that, because I hate seeing victims.
I'll give you an example of.
Sure.
I gotta be careful of how I word this.
Yeah.
Because I'm dealing with something.
Okay.
There's an unstable person.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And I don't even know them that well, but they're contacting me via social media.
Okay.
And I'm like, I've blocked them already. Now they hit me up in the other account. Mm-hmm. But it's very, very, very unstable, like messages. They're like, that doesn't even make sense. It's not even with me. It's like, it has nothing to do with me. They're just ranting. Vote this, and if you drive, and this is gonna blow up, and I hate this person. I want to kill. I wanted this person's trying to get. If I was number one, I think they need help, and I don't even know what to do. That's honestly that's concerning, and I need to look at figuring out a solution. But if I look at that person and say, okay, they are more dangerous. They've already named 5-6 names. I don't know anybody, right? They're already naming 5-6 different names I've already heard. I don't even read it. I just like, who the fuck is this and who the fuck is that? Those people I feel are more at danger, where she's saying, one person's trying to attack me, but I hate this person, I hate that person, this person blocked that person, I'm going to avoid this person. So see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's more of a risk. That's what I'm saying. Where do you draw the line? There's probably 5 people they want to hurt, right? And they're only worried about one person that might want to hurt them. So now it's like, all right, you are a legal abiding citizen. You don't have a record currently. You went through something, and now you're kind of like, on the edge. You're paranoid about this one person, but at the same time, you're also like hating,
exhibiting.
You didn't say anything, but you're
right.
I hate this. Unfollow. Don't do the. Don't be whatever. Where do you draw the line?
That's hard. That's hard. How do I answer that? Man, I hope
you're talking like an attorney, right?
How do I? No. How do I answer that? The way that I answer it is, I hope that whoever the individuals that this person really has, disgust for, I hope that they're safe and that they're doing anything that they, in their own bubble of life, that they are
just to be
considering
clear, guns
for safety.
Guns were never mentioned.
No, but
harm was never mentioned.
It's
just a lot of negative ranting.
I think this scenario you have brought up is actually what's being used to enact what are being called red flag laws around the country. Or
where they're predicting.
Where they get into this whole what was that movie?
Yeah. The Tom Cruise
Minority Report. Where they get into trying to predict, the future, whether somebody is actually going to commit a crime. That's very difficult. I am not a proponent of red flag laws or extreme risk protection orders because they violate individuals' rights.
That's extremely right.
They have been, and people have been killed by police going to, hey, when we're executing our an ERPO on you, we need to get your guns and then people go haywire. I'm so glad you bring it up. That's a very difficult topic, and that's something that we as a country need to deal with. I dislike, however, the part about the red flag laws because that turned our law system upside down, where you are guilty first, and then you have to prove your innocence. And for people to be plucked out of their life and having to put their life on hold, they lose jobs, they lose income, and now they are faced to proving their innocence to the state, which has all access to, resources, abundant resources that are taxpayer paid to accuse you of this. Maybe you have done something. Probably, maybe not. You haven't done anything, but here you are having to plead your case to the state when you may have exhibited some behaviors, but you haven't done the deed.
Yeah,
and that's where our law system is, built. Our law system is built off of deeds. Did you actually carry something out, and then we judge you on the basis of that. But if you haven't, that's tough. That's why I went to was, I hope the people that this person feels extreme disgust about, I hope that they are considering their safety, because that's, at the end of the day, that's what
I don't know. I don't know if they're real people. I don't know. I have no idea.
Very true.
It's just so much that I'm like,
it could be people in their head.
In their head, yeah.
You bet.
This back and forth of gun control and laws and where you draw the lines. I had a conversation recently about the gender and transgender bathrooms and blah blah. Like it just a regular conversation.
Okay.
The conversation is going back like a tennis match, but. Oh yeah. Well, what about this? And what about this? And I, towards the end, I was like, okay, how do I? This is just gonna. They have their opinion. I have mine. This is going nowhere. And then we ended the conversation. And then, when you have a conversation or an argument or whatever the case is with somebody, the next day you're like, fuck, I should have responded with this one, right? Yeah. Well, I ran into the person the next day and I was like, hey, you know what I think is the real problem? It's not what you and I were talking about. That's distracting us from real problems, which is
facts.
The educational system, which is, what is it? 43% of high school graduates can't read basic instructions.
Correct. the
percentage
math,
of people
they
math
can't
levels.
do math, and
They can't. They can't read they can't read basic instructions. They can't write. They can't do this. So here we're fighting about this person should use this bathroom and this person should eat this and this
they're
person.
first world problems.
Yeah, first world problems. Yeah.
Our life is so good
Yeah, we have to worry about everything else.
that we have to.
But as we're doing that, we're failing so miserably at the basic things, the basic life things, like reading and learning and writing and good and bad and evil and I think it was Andrew Tate that was saying, I believe in God because I've seen so much evil recently. There's so much evil, and when you see this much evil and hate and crime and everybody turning on everybody and whatever that, there must be a the opposite force. There's always an opposite force.
Yes, there always is.
But it's pretty dark now.
I believe that. Yeah. But there's that saying, it's always darkest before dawn, right?
Yeah.
We have to keep our eyes on the prize. Those of us, I myself, I'm a man of faith, and I do believe that there is there will be a better day. Is it going to be in my lifetime? I hope so I can see it. But in this life and with every breath that I have, my focus is in doing everything that I can to make the world not to be too insane for my kids. However, I also want to teach my kids to desire better for themselves and for the world that they are going to be living in. How they go about doing that, I'm going to show them.
Yeah.
A little bit, but they're ultimately going to make their own decisions, and they're going to have to live or die with the consequences of their decisions, or lack thereof too. I'm trying to teach them to not linger or dwell in stuff too much. I'm trying to teach them to make decisions.
Commit.
Absolutely.
Question. My brother was in the Navy. A lot of Puerto Ricans in the military in general.
Yes.
Very patriotic military life, and you served in the Marine Corps. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Are you gonna? Do you see the military different nowadays compared?
Oh man!
You said I could ask anything.
I'll let you finish your question.
Do you see the military different now from then?
Hell yeah,
and
bro.
Would you encourage your daughters today to join the military at any point? Hold on. I got something.
Damn.
Wait.
Damn.
What year were you in the military, first of all?
I joined right after 9/11.
Oh, you joined after 9/11.
9/11 happened, and I joined in November
2011. No.
2001.
2001.
I went to boot camp in early 2002. Yes, because I would encourage them to join the military, because at the end of the day, regardless. So I'm gonna tell you what I believe as I reflect on my time in the military. The most value that I got out of the military was having to work with people from all walks of life, from all different states and outlying territories. I worked with people from everywhere, literally everywhere, and having
every
to
country, every state, every border, different languages.
Correct, and their cultures, right, that they bring with them. So that is what the most value that I got out of it. It really, like I told you, born and raised in Puerto Rico, es una isla, very very small island. It does get visited by foreigners, but estamos aislados, quite literally. I joined. We're isolated. An island is isolated. Yeah. If that makes sense to your if that makes sense to your audience.
Yeah.
So yeah, the most value that I got was as I reflect back, some of these people I ended up I never hated anyone. I had to learn how to deal with them. Mind you, in
the Marine Corps.
In the Marine Corps.
In the Marine Corps, yeah. You shared extreme differences with people, but you had to work.
Correct. Very, very short example I can give you is when I came over, my Puerto Rican accent was fucking heavy, dude. I mean, think about your present day Puerto Ricans, high profile Puerto Ricans, como hablan así con el inglés bien masticado, you know, and saying silly stuff like, in PR, drive through is servicarro. So I'm gonna go to the Servicar.
Like, that doesn't make sense, yeah. And then you're translating verbally from Spanish.
And then I'm
to
trying to communicate with the folks, right? And they're like, speak English, motherfucker. Yeah. Speak English, and then you have to swallow that, right, and internalize it, and not become a victim. Yeah, because there's still a job to be done. You become everybody's bitch.
Yeah.
And in the military, if you become a bitch, I mean, you're going to have a hard time. You're going to do 4 years, maybe less, get in trouble, get a bad discharge, and the rest of your life you have a literal scarlet letter. So that's the most value that I got out of the military, was having to deal with so many different people from so many different backgrounds that may or may not have tact. And I would not discourage my kids from doing that, because that's an experience level that very few places will give you.
Yeah.
Very few places, if any, other than the military.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't discourage them. Yes, the military currently is going through a very woke phase that is the morale for people that are still there, and I still have buddies that are there that are still in, that were lifers. I was a short-term. I went out just before hitting 10 years. I left. And yeah, it's bad. Kids don't want to, the kids going in nowadays don't want to do work. I'm saying this. My best friend is currently in the Army, and he says, yeah, these kids don't freaking want to work, dude. Like I had to reshift. I'm having to raise these kids. My best friend is my age, 42. And he just told me the other day, I'm having to raise these kids, man, because they don't want to work.
They don't want to do anything.
They think that
give attitude.
That's the thing about the military, because every 1st and 15th, the paycheck is your paycheck. It's gonna hit no matter what. It's not really based on your performance. It's your paycheck is gonna hit. So yeah, the military is kind of in a really tough situation.
So people are kind of milking it.
Yeah, they're having a really hard time recruiting right now. Really hard time. Yeah, recruiting for all branches.
Well, you know, it's. I completely get what you're saying, but I've talked to a lot of like younger people, and younger people are just, they have different opportunities that you and I didn't have when we were their age. Yeah. You know, they have different choices, different opportunities, different information, different knowledge.
Right.
They're
different incentives too.
Different incentives. They're like. Well, I seen what the military does to my grandfather. I saw what it did to my father. You know, like they just at the end they kicked him out. You know, he left all proudful, and now he's hurt, and now they don't want to give him disability because he didn't claim. Like, you know, like they see that, and if you don't know how to play the rules right, it can go really bad for you in the military.
Can. Absolutely,
and it could 100%. Cost you your life too.
Yes,
and now people see that. When I grew up, I was like, you know, JROTC Navy, JROTC Air Force.
Really?
Oh, dude, I was gonna go in.
Did you grow up here in Cali?
Yeah, California.
Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna go full throttle, and then just one night, the night that I was doing my test and stuff like that, the night that I stayed at the hotel, the next day I was doing the ASVAB.
Oh shit!
I drank, and I was underage, obviously, and this guy, anyways, it's a long story short, but we called all the rooms and we started fucking around with people. And at the end of everything, they're like, all right, you passed, but we got to do a breathalyzer on everybody in class. And they did a breathalyzer on us. And they're like, you have to come back in 45 days.
Oh, wow.
And I was selling cars at the time. And then I was working at a nightclub making cash. And then I was making good money at the car dealership. Okay, after 45 days, I was like, whatever. But that's why I never joined. But I was all for it. And I was like, like, bro, de los 14 años hasta los 18, like, 18.
No,
and people try to make fun of me. I'd fuck them up.
Yeah.
Get the fuck out of here, bro.
I went to military high school in PR.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So it's pretty much kind of like the same thing.
Yeah. People try to bust your balls, but I was all about it. But now I'm speaking to these younger kids, and I'm like, dude, they're like, I'm literally talking to a 22-year-old at the LA Fitness. And he's like, yeah, I'm thinking about going to Dubai, and they're offering me a deal. He was like this tall German dude. He's like, yeah, they're offering me like basketball, and I can make this much, but I don't know if I want to move there. And I'm like, what?
Are you serious?
I never even thought it would. But Dubai didn't even exist back then.
True.
Like whatever. The point is, it's. I get it. There's a lot of pussies out there. There is. There's a lot of bitches and pussies and people acting out, but then the other ones that are business-like minded, you got 22, 23, 24-year-olds making fucking 100,000 a year, no problem, working a few hours, social media, marketing, influencing. So I don't know, man. It's hard. It's a hard sell.
And because they are, and because these individuals also put it out there, then you have this whole generation that's all they want to do. They just want to be a YouTuber.
Yeah, but they don't want to have discipline or consistency or work for it
and that's the problem, right? Because obviously, of course, like your other careers, NBA or NFL, right? It's only a fraction of a percentage of the kids that dedicate their entire life, right, through high school and college, because they want to make it to the pros, that actually get through. But yeah, this generation is just, and they're also having a really hard time dealing with rejection too, and failure, and
because they don't have to face it.
And opposing views.
Yeah, because they don't have to face it. They go on Twitter and it's like, okay. Like, we used to have to go to la discoteca.
Yeah.
And,
true.
And talk
you
to
used
5-10 girls and get lost. Who the fuck are you?
You used to have to deal with rejection face to face. Absolutely. Yeah. But now it's...
now you have no rejection.
True. Yeah.
Now you're just left, right, whatever the case is. And if there's a match, there's a match. Like, no rejection.
Yeah. So it's entirely different. And that, that is obviously affecting how... Going back to my previous statement, society is what changed. And that is why we're having so much trouble with people resorting to violence and taking stuff to the extremes.
You've heard that saying, hard times create...
Yeah, the fourth turning.
Yeah, fourth turning. The world's changed. Where do you see you're instructing, and what do you see in your industry and your business in the next 5 years?
Here in California, we are counting on some very, very good upcoming decisions, knocking down some of these unconstitutional laws. We have I'm sure you're probably familiar with the handgun roster, the assault weapons ban.
No, I don't know any of this.
You don't know any of this stuff?
Tell me. None of it.
So,
what's a handgun?
The reason why the vast majority of when you go to a gun shop in California, they all have the same guns, the same style old guns, and then there's a counter that says law enforcement only. And those are all the cool guns, all the newer generation guns that the rest of the free states, people in the free states can buy. There's a law passed over 15 years ago in California that created what's called the safe handgun roster. It was just a backdoor, a very sketchy weasel law to ban handguns by 1,000 cuts in California. We have currently, it's been in the works for years, a lawsuit to declare it unconstitutional. It's now to the final stretch now with the help of the latest ruling of the Supreme Court in New York State Rifle and Pistol Association versus Bruin, which created a standard of any gun control law has to mirror any gun control law that we have in the states today has to have an analog, a historical analog back to the time that the Second Amendment was ratified, was, instituted. And guess what? There weren't any gun control laws back then. And so what's happening now is we have a multitude of lawsuits to the state of California for all bringing down one by one all these gun control laws. One of the ones it's the handgun roster, which once that is deemed unconstitutional, we're gonna have a flood of newer generation handguns that are gonna become available for California. And what that's going to mean for my profession is now all these gun owners are going to have access to these newer generations of firearms, and then I'll be able to buy them myself because I can't buy them today.
Yeah.
If you're not a law enforcement officer.
Yeah.
And the assault weapon ban, once that becomes, that's the one that just banned AR-15 style firearms. That is why most people put these silly fin grips on their rifles if they want to take them out to the range.
I don't like those.
It's so dumb, man.
It's so stupid.
What they did was they said if you are able to wrap your thumb around your rifle, you're evil. You must be a serial killer. You must want to execute as many people as possible because you can wrap your thumb around the pistol grip. And they made all these other features evil, such as a flash hider, which is nothing else than something that just diverts the flash somewhere else. The telescopic,
which protects your vision for the person that's shooting the weapon.
Oh shit! And a telescopic buttstock, which allows
so this is
people.
Illegal.
Huh?
This is an illegal gun right here.
In this configuration, yes, any rifle in the state of California, this is an evil tool. You must be a serial
Check the magazine.
killer. You can take it out too.
Oh, bro, you haven't seen this?
Oh yeah.
You guys better send me something. This is Goat Gun. GoatGun.com.
I've seen them.
Has little bullets.
Yeah,
Dude,
they're awesome.
The whole thing comes apart.
Yeah,
it's
like a legit. This is awesome. Oh yeah. They also the assault weapon ban also outlawed the ability to drop the magazine.
That's right.
Because they didn't want if you want to be able to reload your rifle quickly, must mean that you are a criminal.
Yeah.
So they criminalized everything that makes a firearm more user friendly. They criminalized it.
Yeah.
Because again, to take it back to what I said earlier, in the state of California, they effectively criminalized everything about the Second Amendment because it's all in the penal code. It's not seen as a right, such as the First Amendment is, or the Fourth Amendment, Fifth Amendment, which are all addressed in the California Constitution, but not the Second Amendment. So in the next 5 years, with these wins, it's all gonna hopefully change. I would like the CCW permitting scheme to be eradicated. I would like California to become a constitutional carry state. Because I none of these laws, I don't know if you saw one of my recent posts on Instagram and on Twitter, none of these gun control laws do anything to help the good people. The good people have to navigate all these barriers. The criminals don't have to navigate any of these. None whatsoever. And so the way that I want to, and I made that post for the very reason I wanted to give people such as yourself and everybody else who are gun owners the verbiage to fight, when they go to their city town hall meetings or to the state legislature and somebody is saying all this nonsense. We need to ban this gun. We need to make it less accessible, which is something that they say guns are too accessible. How is that actually going to help me be more on the same level or better than the criminal? You are effectively placing me below the level of people who are
armed criminal.
Yes, of people who operate outside the laws. So please help me out here. Please elaborate, Mr. or Mrs. Politician.
Yeah.
So that's what I want more and more people to take an active role too over the next few years in helping to knock down some of these laws in California.
Well, it looks like it's happening, and it looks like we'll see some results very, very soon.
Yeah. And people need to also help out the organizations that are helping us out. I'll give them a shout out. The ones that I
give them a shout out, and also your Instagram and your page,
sure.
your website.
Sure, absolutely. So most people they will ask me, hey, so what organizations are out there? The first ones that come to mind are California State Rifle and Pistol Association, CRPA. Gun Owners of America, Gun Owners of California. The Firearms Policy Coalition is one of the main ones that are always putting lawsuits all throughout the states, but they are also very heavily in California because California is one of the most gun-controlled states.
But not more than Chicago. It's like Chicago and then California, or they're like pretty much the same?
It's pretty much it's pretty up there. It's pretty much the same. The city of Chicago is horrible, but obviously the state of Illinois,
the gun laws,
No, let me be clear. Not the people, but the politicians that have weaseled their way into power. California, Illinois, New York, New Jersey, Connecticut is getting bad. Massachusetts is getting really bad, but pretty much most of the center states, with the exception of a couple in the Midwest, are pretty respectful of the people's rights
of the Second Amendment
to keep and bear arms. Yes, sir, because most of those states have a version of the Second Amendment in the state constitution, which then guides the rest of the laws, the law making in that state.
Yeah.
You asked me about my socials. You can find me on
social.
Sure thing. You can find me on Instagram at Triggerology_FT, where I post about all kinds of stuff. I'll post some stuff about my sessions. I post my replies to some of the gun control advocates. I'll go live sometimes and I'll interact with my followers. I'll allow people to ask me questions free of charge, obviously. On Twitter, Triggerology, that's where I do pretty much all my advocacy, trying to reach those fence sitters. And then my website, where you can find my information and contact me for training and all that good stuff, is at triggerologyft.com. I also rolled out a super freaking based merch line as Triggerology, where you can find also all kinds of freaking cool t-shirts like this one.
Nice.
I like superior firepower, because that's where I want to help the culture of being unapologetically engaged and involved and own your own self-defense and your rights. So that my merch shop is triggerology.shop. And that's where you can find it.
I'll try to have the little, I'm starting to do little titles here and stuff.
Cool. Yeah. I appreciate
That's awesome,
that.
bro. Well, I appreciate you being here, man. Keep up doing what you're doing, and keep me posted. And if I hear any gun questions, I'll do like a little live stream or something.
I'm happy to do joint live streams. I've done them with many different folks, whether they're 2A advocates. I've done live stream with Claudia when she was running for Senate, because that's another thing that I was doing, helping people who are trying to help people that are pro 2A to get into places of elected office to make change.
Yeah,
for the better here in California. So I'm gonna continue doing that, and I can promise all your audience and you that I'm just gonna keep on going.
Dale, Chico. Dale. Thank you for being
So
here.
I say, yeah, man. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate you having me.
Not a problem, man.
Yep.
Till next time.
Yes, sir.